Focus, determination, passion, stamina, and the will to win. The end result, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Extreme Motorsports brings you the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you by Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment, and by Proforma, Elite Texas Graphics. Live, Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Past the halfway point of the season, we welcome you back to Road Atlanta here. It's the 6th round of Season 16 for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. There are the track details up on screen. Let's get to it. From myself, Jonathan Simon, Tyler Maxson's alongside me for today's coverage. It is a full course layout that we are using, which is about 4 kilometers in length, so about 2.5 miles. Cold temperatures out there today, so there should be plenty of grip, but Road Atlanta doesn't remain any easier of a challenge despite that extra grip, as this track, the first sector, you can see on the bottom left-hand side of screen, it is tight and twisty, blind corners as you rise over the crest, and then you have the long back straight all the way to the run, downhill into the braking zone for turn 10. That's our best overtaking spot for today's event. And it's going to be critical because for 3 classes of cars, when we were at Motegi 2 weeks ago, we expected the coverage of the racetrack to be quite distributed. But this week, and I think what we learned from Motegi is no matter how wide a racetrack is, it's always going to be difficult to lap cars and maneuver your way around an immense amount of traffic. Now in the background, you can see our MX-5 grid, who are currently in qualifying. That's almost over, but Tyler, welcome back to Road Atlanta, and I remember us discussing this a couple of weeks ago as a circuit that we quite enjoy attending to, and it's going to be a circuit that I look forward to racing here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be an extremely fun circuit, Road Atlanta. I mean, this place seems to always deliver whenever we bring the Sports Car Series here. We've capped off a couple of championships at this circuit. This time, we're going to it smack dab in the middle of the season, just right about there at least. And we're coming back this time, though, with 3 classes of cars, whereas last time we came here with just 2 classes. You know, we are adding in the Audi TCR. That's another element. And that's just another challenge that the drivers are going to have to deal with around this already incredibly tricky track.
Now, the series is sponsored by Ricmotech High Performance Sim Racing Equipment. And, of course, qualifying is presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. The track guide is coming up shortly. We're going to take you for a trip around this 4-kilometer circuit, 12 intense corners. And it's up to Kevin Ford to prove. Let's see if Kevin Ford can keep it on the racetrack. That's how hard this circuit is.
Welcome, everyone, to Road Atlanta. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide in the Ford Mustang. And today we come to you from Braselton, Georgia, located just northeast of downtown Atlanta. This track was constructed in 1969 on 750 acres of farmland and quickly became a mecca for road racing, featuring legends like Peter Gregg in his 1976 BMW and the great Paul Newman. The first winner at Road Atlanta was Vic Elford in his Chaparral 2J in 1970. Road Atlanta lives on today, hosting major road racing events, including the Petit Le Mans race held here each year. This track is full of elevation changes, as you will see on our track guide around this 3.5-mile road course through the red clay hills of Georgia. We start our track guide coming down out of turn 11 into the final corner here. The starts of races across this start-finish line are very exciting, as you'll see coming into turn one. Drivers will sometimes go 2, 3 wide into this corner, trying to get that edge to come up this hill to one of the blindest corners on the track. Turn 2. Still looking. There it is. Now into turn 3 to the right. Drivers will get a good quick run through here to head towards one of the most famous areas on the track, the S's. Down through this hill, back to the left, back to the right, hard on the brakes for this next uphill blind corner. Coming up out of 5 and down the straightaway. Short little straight, heading towards 6 and 7. 2 very important turns on the course. Want to get a good run through 6, get a nice wide entry to set up for 7. You want to get a good rotation here, get that good launch off this corner as this takes you down the longest straightaway on the track and the highest speed section of the track. Drivers in the Mustang will probably reach speeds of 130, 135 mile an hour on this straightaway, but coming down into the next section is so critical. Great overtaking opportunities here as you do have slipstream on this straightaway. But 10A and B here are very tight. It's a real tight chicane. Got to get that nose to set at the bottom of the apex, come back up out of the apex, up to turn 11 under the bridge here. Blind entry down the hill to turn 12, the final corner on the track, and back to the start-finish line. Very fast 3.5 mile course as we come down into turn 1 once again. That is your track guide for Road Atlanta. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hope you enjoyed the track guide for today's event at Road Atlanta. Now, as we enter the second half of the campaign, Tyler, the championship is an ever tough fought battle. We'll look at the TCR standings to begin with, and they will be up on screen they'll be up on screen soon as you can get them. But at the top of the order, of course, it's a close fought battle, Tyler, and that's something that we'll be looking forward to continuing here today. Looking forward to seeing how Kevin Carlisle fares, considering he could be on pole position yet again.
Yeah, Kevin Carlisle could definitely be on pole position here today once again, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Let's see how, yes, he is currently on pole. He's got a 0.2 of a second gap over Chad Parker, so I would assume Kevin Carlisle is going to keep the pole, but he's in a very close battle right now with Brandon Whitworth in the championship.
Yep, exactly. So we'll flick over to our Mustang standings. And yet again, Aero Nom versus Mike Dam has been the story for the season, Tyler. And that's something that will be continuing again here today at Road Atlanta. This time, though, Aero Nom has pipped Mike Dam for pole position.
Yeah, Aero Nom able to pip Mike Dam. That's a very tough feat. Well, not a tough feat. It's definitely a tough feat. Let's put it that way. It's a tough feat to pip Mike Dam to the pole position, and it's just tough in general. I mean, Mike's a very fast driver, and he's a relentless. He's not just going to give it up easily. And with how close the championship is in that class as well, I mean, only 8 points separate them. It's going to be a great race.
Yep, and then on towards our ST Pro standings. DJ Alessandrini's had a consistent championship so far. He didn't begin the championship as our favorite, but I tell you what, so far he's looking real good. He's looking real quick. And at one point in time, we were expecting Elvis Rankin to possibly look good for this title, but so far he's dropped off since his early couple of wins to begin the season. Round number 4 is what really cost him earlier on in our campaign. That was about a few weeks ago, and that was his round at Brands Hatch, the 90-minute event, Tyler, and he'll be looking to make amends for that here today at Road Atlanta.
Yes, certainly will. He just didn't have the best of luck, honestly. After the first few races, he got out-strategized, and to be honest with you, he didn't have any really bad luck, but he just didn't have the performances that he had in the opening 2 or 3 rounds, and yeah, the championship's still close. I mean, only 10 points between he and DJ Alessandrini out in the race lead, so, I mean, it's not like he's too far behind, and he still definitely has a chance, considering we still have a lot of this season left to go.
Yep, and then our final championship to look at is ST Open. So these are your MX5 grids. But ST Pro and ST Open, they'll be racing against each other, but they're two different divisions. Our Open drivers are more of our newcomers, and it's Jason Bossy who currently leads the standings for that division for the moment. And he's improved as the season's progressed as well. He's claimed a good strong haul of points, and I'll tell you what, Tyler, he'll be looking for another top 5 finish here today.
Yeah, Jason will definitely be looking for another top 5 finish here. He had a very strong few rounds. I mean, he's just been strong, I think, in general this season. You know, he's always been one of the top ST Open drivers, and he's really figuring everything out. Down a little bit down the order in this particular race, but who's to say that's really on race pace? I mean, you can easily look well past that, and 60 minutes can change a lot.
Yeah, most certainly. So today's race, Road Atlanta, Tyler, what do we see in terms of strategy? It's a 60-minute race, and what we've seen in this series is that our MX-5s, our Mustangs, our TCRs, all divisions of cars will make one stop. But when do we expect those stops to occur?
Ooh, I mean, to be honest with you, we really don't know, I don't think, a specific time window. I think that it's very kind of up in the air, honestly, about when we could see the stops being made, to be honest with you. I don't think that you could have something that says for sure when you're going to see it, but, you know, estimates that we're looking at, we are looking at the TCRs to go about 28 minutes in. That's when their kind of opening stops will happen, and then the later stops will happen towards the 45-minute mark. The Mustangs will be the 25-minute to the 40 minutes, and then same thing with the Mazdas. They will go from about 25 to the 45-minute mark. So a little bit different, you know, differences in strategies will certainly play into effect tonight quite heavily, and that's really where a lot of the drivers can make or break some of their races.
Yep, certainly can. Now, William Laster is a driver, Tyler, who has retired from the Sports Car Series only for this season. Don't cry at home, ladies and gentlemen, as you listen to this. But William Laster, just due to scheduling conflicts, is unable to attend the rest of the Sports Car Series. So if you're looking out for him, he was leading our championship, Tyler, wasn't he, for our TCR order? And now, unfortunately, we can confirm he won't be returning for the rest of the campaign. And like we said, that opens up the order, that opens up the championship for the likes of Kevin Carlisle, Brandon Whitworth, Eric Violet, and the rest of the order. So, sad news, Tyler, but that's sim racing for you. It's not your... I mean, what do you think? I think family first, sim racing, family first, what is it? Friends second, work third, sim racing fourth? Is that how it works with most people?
I think so. I think that sounds about right. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, some of the time you just kind of got to do what you have to do and work your life into things, and sometimes you just have to take life as a priority over sim racing sometimes. But hey, it's going to be great to see. Hopefully William Laster returns to the Sports Car Series next season. We're just waiting now on qualifying to conclude. Everybody has set their qualifying laps, and sorry for a little bit of a mix-up there on the overlay, but we have gotten that fixed now for you. So everything should be good going into the race. We have just a few more seconds, and by a few more seconds, I mean a minute and a half, until we actually get into the racing here tonight. But it should be awesome here from Road Atlanta. I think we're going to definitely see, though, some carnage once those Audis start to catch the back of the MX-5s and the Mustangs for the first time.
Well, let's see can we look at our timing screen yet again on the left-hand side of the screen? So if you're new to the series, welcome along, of course. Now, you can identify each class of car with our 3 different colors on the overlay. So gray will be our TCR grid, of course. Blue will be our Mustang grid, also known as GS. That stands for Grand Sport. And then orange is our ST grid. That is our MX-5 order. And, of course, the lighter orange will be our open class cars. So any other questions, flick them through, of course, whether you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else on our associated platforms. Welcome to this Apex Racing TV coverage for Round 6, Season 16 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. So, Tyler, what I normally see here is we're going to have a rolling start, of course, as usual for the series. But it tends to bottleneck at Road Atlanta. I've seen some crazy starts, and for anyone who's into Twitch streams on iRacing, I've seen some bizarre Twitch clips that have been posted over the years of just ridiculous beginnings right here at this final corner that you're watching. And it can really bottleneck the field. And if one driver gets it wrong, it turns into a concertina effect.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, one driver is really all it takes in turn number one to have some sort of major incident. But the grid is now up on your screen.
And that grid will consist of Kevin Carlisle starting on pole position. He'll be looking to extend that championship lead with Chad Parker, a brilliant qualifying performance in second. He's putting up some good pace here today. Those D2D esports cars have improved throughout this season 16 campaign. Brandon Whitworth, he's Kevin Carlisle's closest championship challenger. He'll get a good view of the rear end of that number 72 Apex Racing TV car. And racing team car, broadcasting on Apex Racing TV, no bias. Matthew Madigan starts from fourth, could still be iRacing Rallycross World Championship driver come 2020. We'll see how he goes. Eric Violet in fifth. Then we have Kernan Appelgren and Bobby Child starting from last. Don't let that deceive you. Second last. Lucas Ford will start from last. But don't let that deceive you with Bobby Childs. He does have some good race pace, so we'll be looking out for him come race time. Then we look at your Mustang order. It's Eero Norm on pole position ahead of his championship challenger of Mike Dam. Really looking forward to seeing Kevin Ford's how can we say this? His sort of comeback through the series now. He's missed a few rounds last year, and he's trying to find that form again, but he's been really busy. He does run a lot of the things behind the scenes here for the Ricmotech SportsCar series, so that can really hamper his pace. Shiflett and Vigas return, the two Mech Motorsports teammates. Didn't see Vigas last round, so he'll be looking to make amends for what could have been a potential podium with all the incidents that occurred at Motegi. Now let's look at your MX-5 order, and how about this? Robert Hartley returns to the series, and he'll start it with a bang. Pole position, 6/10 up on his teammate Travis Schwenke, 3/10 up on championship leader DJ Alessandrini for Grid Life iRacers. Jim List will start from fourth. That is a remarkable performance from Jim List. He's all the way down in eighth in the championship this season, so this will give him a good strong haul of points if he can stay ahead of John Allen in that Defined Auto Works car. Not the best performance from Elvis Rankin. We know he's a better qualifier than he is a racer, and he's trying to prove that wrong this season, but so far, starting down the order in the sixth position is not a good beginning for him. And then we'll cycle through the rest of the order on screen. Jacob Beasley in his first season with D2D Esports starting well. And then all the way down the order, we see Patrick Prevenas rounding out our 36 car field for today's event. Here's the order, Tyler. It's going to be a mad scramble into the first corner. But of course, for Carlisle, he goes on iRacing green. So whenever iRacing signify it's green, Carlisle will floor it. The rest of the grid will go on race controls command.
Yeah, so Carlisle kind of has that, I'm going to say advantage, because he can really figure out when iRacing is actually going to throw their green flag. You know what I mean? They're very predictable, iRacing is, and when the green flag will be thrown, you can kind of practice that throughout the week. But the other drivers in the other classes don't have that luxury. You know, they have to just guess, basically, on when they can go, and they can't get as big of an advantage right off the line. And we've seen Kevin use that to his advantage several times this season. You know, he's got excellent launches at a few of these events this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Carlisle can do that again here.
This is the long back straight. I remember seeing quite a lot of battles here over the years. Some Petit Le Mans races as well. I love Road Atlanta. It's a thrilling circuit, isn't it? Located in Georgia, in the United States of America. Tyler, you live, what did you say, 40 minutes from here?
Yeah, I live very close to here. It's only 40 minutes away from me. I've done a lot of laps of this track. Not as much as I have some, but I have been here quite a few times, and I've done several events here. I've actually, the first time I ever drove a car was at this track, and the first time I ever drove the TCR car was at this track as well. So I've had a lot of first here, and this place really holds near and dear to me.
That's Tyler Maxon, our expert commentator for today's event. From myself, Jonathan Simon, hope you enjoy all the coverage here on Apex Racing TV, as Carlisle will floor it sometime soon. That iRacing's green is going to fly. He's going. We begin 60 minutes of racing action.
Wonderful jump then from Carlisle. The 2D2D sports guys, they're still side by side, but then they all quiet up into 1 and 2. Everybody, for the most part, gets single file, but they're all keeping it clean here as they round the top of the hill and through turn number 3. We had a little bit of side-by-side between Applegren and Childs, but that was all that was there. Now we jump back to your MX-5. Childs was off the racetrack for a momentarily, though. As we see here, Mike Dam and Kevin Ford side-by-side.
Here we go. Nom's flooring it, though. He's already into the lead here by a country mile. It's up to Mike Dam to defend from Kevin Ford. Have a look here at Steve Daniel versus Russ Ruddock behind for 7th and 8th in class. They'll have to form up. And now let's look at the beginning of our MX-5 race. Robert Hartley maintains the lead ahead of Schwenke. Travis Schwenke jumping ahead of DJ Alessandrini. Now the two alongside each other, and Alessandrini reclaims the second position with a brave pass there into turn 4.
Yeah, very good pass then from DJ Alessandrini, around the outside from DJ Alessandrini. Really, that's not the place you want to be doing that, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a very dangerous pass to be making, but everybody makes it through cleanly. I've seen a lot of incidents go very badly then when they do that. Now, Shiflett and Mike Dam, Kevin Ford, are side by side. Ford on the inside, Shiflett on the outside. This is going to be a drag race down to 10A and B.
Downhill braking zone, ever difficult, really easy to run wide here. Now you want to turn turns 10A and 10B into one corner. That's the aim. Here is a TCR car going off. That's the Nerdworks car. It's Matt Madigan off the racetrack. Let's see what's happened to him here. Let's ride on board. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that was Jeff Applegren. I got that wrong. The other Nerdworks car, and Applegren just straight off into turn 1. Now, Tyler, that can happen. Is that just missing your turning point?
To be honest with you, that could even just be misjudging the throttle a little bit. Turn 1 has a lot of different turning points, and it's got a little bit of banking. A lot of people don't realize that turn 1 really has a little bit of banking that you can use to your advantage. So it's something that the turn-in is not as important as getting that car through the center of the apex and not getting on the power too early, because if you do, it's so easy to run wide. And once you drop a wheel in these TCR cars, it's nearly impossible to get them back quickly.
Carlisle hasn't broken away from the rest of his competitors here. Parker's only half a second behind. Here is Jeff Applegren alongside Tony Kernan. Kernan here in 5th. Falling down the order like flies. Actually, is that Eric Violet, I presume? It is. Excuse me, I'm getting all these cars mixed up at the moment. Eric Violet close here to Tony Kernan in that Kernan Motorsports car. Here's where Jeff Applegren went off at turn 1. Uphill right-hander, high speed. And then it's so blind through here, Tyler. Like, we can see this corner right now, but from the cockpit, you can't see anything.
Yeah, whenever you're in the cockpit, you can't see a single thing at the top of turn number 1. I mean, you're basically cresting the hill in 3, turning in with complete blindness and hoping that there is not a car spun around on the other side. That's it's one of the more nerve-wracking corners in real life, and same in the sim, because you really can't see it until you're in it. That's when you can see the other side of turn number 3. And honestly, you can't even see the apex of turn 3 if you're in like a small single-seater. These guys in these sports cars, they have the advantage of being able to really see the apex, as Applegren is off again. Jeff Applegren, I can't even see him. He's off the track so far, and he has come back. You can see just dropped a wheel, and so unfortunate. I wonder what's happened here. I mean, he's made 2 major mistakes in the matter of what? A lap and a half?
Well, it's a front-wheel drive car, so it could be understeering as well heading into 6 and 7. Tires could still be cold, could they, Tyler, for sure, but I think he just needs to find the rhythm. Unless he's got a problem with the car, it's all down to rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, those TCR cars are so important to get the rhythm exactly right. And it's really difficult to get rear tire temperature. in those TCR cars. You know, a lot of these guys will take 2 tires, and it's not because they don't want to take 4. A lot of the times, the TCR guys really, with their fuel strategy, they could take 4 if they kind of push the strategy a little bit, but they only want to take 2 tires because it doesn't make sense for them to take all 4 because of how long it takes those rear tires to come up to temperature.
So Robert Hartley here leads the field away. This is DJ Alessandrini who leads the championship. Did demote himself down to 3rd after a poor start and then made amends for it with a wicked pass around the outside of Hartley's teammate in Travis Schwenke. The 2 Excite Racing cars here, 1 and 3 to begin this race. Now Jim List still in 4th. That's a good performance from List so far. And Rankin, more importantly, Tyler, is remaining in the pack. And you're an expert with MX-5 racing. You're a champion in the real world. And MX-5 drafting is one of the critical points to remaining in contention for a win.
MX-5 drafting may be the most important thing in all of MX-5 racing, especially in a series like this. I say that this series is a lot like the actual MX-5 Cup Series with that MX-5 class, and the fact of it's very, very close. There's usually 1 or 2 packs of cars, sometimes 3, but for the majority of the time we have 1 to 2 packs of cars, and we have incredibly close racing within those packs, and draft is worth everything. That is something that was so difficult for me to figure out last season when I did run in the MX-5 Cup, was figuring out the draft in the series, and you have to ace it because, you know, if you don't do that, you're just going to get out-driven by somebody who does. And the guys in this series who are at the top level really are just some of the best MX-5 drivers on the entire service. And these guys, if anyone knows how to drive the MX-5 draft, it's these guys.
Battle for 9th going on here. Derek Holland sandwiched by Chris Thorman and Jason Bossy. Bossy leads the open standings, don't forget. And have a look at Jason Bossy here in that 17. Pushing Holland to the max. Don't know if he's going to go defensive or offensive. Now, you saw the DRS board. No DRS on these MX-5s, of course, as they head into the downhill braking zone into turn 10. Move up the inside, up ahead here. And a couple of MX-5 cars there that look like Beasley versus Beasley up the inside for sure. Now have a look at this behind Beasley. It's Chris Thorman trying to make a move past what looks like Brennan Horan. Brennan Horan's in 25th overall, 8th in class. He's in that eSport racer car. Now they begin to form up. This is a nice scrap going on down the order, Tyler, and it could, you know, with all the incidents we saw in at least the Mustang class 2 weeks ago, you never know. This could be the battle for the win if everybody ahead loses it.
Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, at a track like this, it's honestly not something that's unprecedented, to be honest with you. I mean, it only takes one person at Road Atlanta to spin at the exit of a blind corner, and then everybody else just to plow into them because, you know, this track is so difficult to see, and we were saying that earlier, is that a lot of these corners, they're blind. You can't see them. One person spins, everybody's going to get collected especially whenever they're in such close proximity like they are right now.
Yeah, definitely. So now we watch the lead order. This is a nice, thrilling battle here. Hartley, Alessandrini, Schwenke, List, Allen, Rankin. Those are your top 6 to head the order here. Almost 10 minutes into round number 6, lap 6 at Road Atlanta, heading into turn 10. Now, I spoke about this corner, Tyler. We'll talk about it later, because Chad Parker's in the lead here past Kevin Carlisle as the TCR cars approach the traffic for the first time. That's cost Kevin Carlisle.
Yeah, that's cost Kevin Carlisle the lead, and it may even cost him second here. Brandon Whitworth was all over the back of him, down the back straightaway. Got held up a little bit through 10A and B. Now he's got Matt Madigan to deal with, but this may be a change for the race lead here as Chad Parker gets held up behind his teammate in the MX-5. That looks to be Chris Thorman, I believe. Yes, it is. And Chris Thorman kind of holds up his teammate there, doesn't do him the best of favors. And now you can see how tough this traffic is to deal with in the first sector. This may be a little bit of an easier job for Chad Parker. A little bit of contact with his teammate in Jacob Beasley, but no harm, no foul. Everybody keeps it going in a straight line.
Man, how is Beasley keeping this car together? He's about to miss the corner. Man, that was close. Madigan's going to have his work cut out for him. Thank God Matt Madigan is a rallycross driver because he may not have to take to the tarmac to make his way past some of these cars. Into 6 and 7, you lose the car through here. It's essentially death corner. You'll be into the barriers on the left-hand side. Double apex right-hander. Throw it into the first one, and then you're braking hard for the second one and setting yourself up for this long run onto the back straight. This is turns 8 and 9, hardly corners on the back straight. And then we head to the downhill braking zone of turn 10. That's where Carlisle's going to look to make the move. And have a look at Parker here already on the defensive.
Yeah, Chad Parker knows Kevin Carlisle is going to try it down into 10A and B if he can, but he isn't able to do it. Parker slightly misses the corner. Carlisle with a beautiful line and a straighter exit. He thinks about having to move down into turn number 12, but that's a very risky move to be trying this early on in the race. That's like a last lap, last corner pass sort of deal, not something that you do on lap 8 on a 1-hour race.
This is good stuff from Carlisle because he's packing the pressure on here on Chad Parker. Let's see if the D2D Esports driver can handle it. Into turn 3, they go into the right-hander. Carlisle almost back into the lead. They remain alongside each other. Some contact between the two as well, and they remain alongside each other as well for the remainder of the first sector. Carlisle has to form up, though, heading into the S's, and now he's under attack from Brandon Whitworth behind.
And look at who's joined the party once again. Matt Madigan back into it. Eric Violet as well. Not too far behind Madigan. This has now become a 5-car pack out in the race lead here in TCR. What it has become oh so quickly. The front two are incredibly close, and then there's only a 0.4 of a second gap, and it's 1.7 seconds right now covering the entire top 5 at TCR. I want to just stress to you how close 1.7 seconds is.
Oh, this isn't going to end well. Traffic here as they fight for the lead. Carlisle in first. Parker deep on the brakes. Carlisle's almost missed the corner. He's skating through turn 10. Somehow keeps the car together, and he remains in first. What a brilliant move by Carlisle.
Oh, Parker
no.
Sideways. Wow, that could have ended badly for the MX-5 of DJ Alessandrini. Now they all make it through, but Chad Parker gave Kevin Carlisle a bit of a nudge, and Carlisle was sideways going by DJ Alessandrini. If that wasn't scary for him, then I don't know what was, because that was a very late move and a very big slide for Kevin Carlisle.
Now, Bobby Charles is in the pit lane, so there's been an issue for him. He's our last car in the TCR order. And we'll get news, we'll give you word on that as soon as we find out what's happened to Childs. He's actually a lap down already on his own class, so that's how bad the race is going for Bobby Childs. Carlisle still leads though, and now has got a 2.3 second advantage. Tyler, if somebody tuned into the race right now and didn't witness the past 5 minutes, they think Kevin Carlisle was dominating.
Yeah, I mean, you really would, but to be honest with you, that's one traffic. That is one time through the traffic. Keep in mind, we are 13 minutes into this race, and we've already gone through the traffic. We started going through the traffic at about 9 or 10 minutes in. So we're going to be doing that 5 or 6 times in this race tonight. That is insane to me, how many times those guys are going to be having to weave their way through that traffic. And yeah, like you said, somebody would tune into the race right now and think that Kevin Carlisle was absolutely dominating, but that can all change in an absolute instant when we get into traffic once again.
This is a title rivalry that just never stops. Nom versus Dam. Mike Dam looking for another race victory this season. Issues last time out at Motegi for Aero Nom. Remember the contact these two had. There's no bad blood between them though, but they'll be hoping that it doesn't continue. Otherwise, I'll be hoping for a bit of bad blood between the two, because you can't be also nice in motor racing. Now, Dam doesn't have the best of exits through the final sector here. I'll begin another lap, and it's Aero Nom remaining in the lead. So whilst that occurs, there's plenty of battles down the order here as well. Robert Hartley, we're watching lead out. Oh, he's off the racetrack at turn 5 there, the left-hander. And he'll allow the Nerdworks car through. Hartley still leads, and look down the order as well. It's a nice fight here between List, Allen, and Rankin.
Yeah, very close fight indeed. These guys are really close to each other right now. Not too much gap between any of them. And they'll all work onto the back straightaway now. Rankin at the tail of this train. We were talking about him early on, usually his qualifying pace is better than his race pace, and I think that they've kind of proven that tonight. Is that he really hasn't been able to move up on his qualifying position. I can actually try and get the lap times here for Elvis Rankin. Let's see. He's moved up no spots. He has stayed exactly where he has qualified. And to be honest with you, I think he's going to need a decent miracle or John Allen getting some sort of an issue, because now he's moved himself up a spot and up into 5th place there for Elvis Rankin. So as soon as I said I don't think he's really going to gain much, he immediately gets something.
And Allen just having an abysmal few corners there. He almost lost it heading into turn 12, the final corner here at Road Atlanta. But Jim List is remaining solid. Didn't expect Jim List to keep race pace with the leaders, but so far only 2.7 seconds behind, a quarter of the way through this race, is quite impressive for Jim List. He's still remaining in the clutches of our lead battle. And remember, Tyler, too, once pit stops come in halfway through this race, the window is about to open in about 5-10 minutes time, and once the leaders potentially start battling, List is still in contention here for a good result.
And honestly, yes, they could start battling, but I think also traffic is really what separated those guys out. I mean, if you looked pre-traffic-wise, those guys they were all right together, and it was a 6-car train for the race lead in your MX-5, and then traffic came, and that really separated them out, but these guys all somehow stayed together. So, yes, I do think that pace does have something to do with it, but I think traffic is going to be that biggest question mark tonight, and you may be the fastest driver tonight, but finish in 6th or 7th place because of getting held up in traffic.
Yeah, exactly it. So down the order in our MX-5 grid, we're watching Kevin Ford here in our Mustang order, but Derek Holland and Jason Bossy, who are in 25th and 26th overall, are in a nice little tight scrap here. Here they are on screen. Derek Holland's in the number 80. Bossy's trying to defend our ST Open Championship leader. Here's the Indy Autosport driver trying to push to the attack. Greg Mack, though, the eSport racer car, he's being disposed by the two. But an important scrap down the order, Tyler, should continue here in these remaining laps. Here's a replay, though, on screen.
And I think Chris Thorman ended up in a tire wall here. Maybe. Oh, he just blew the motor. Chris Thorman blows the motor, and he will pull that D2D Esports MX-5 on to the inside grass, and that will be his day done. So unfortunate for D2D Esports. They now have 1, 2, 3 cars out of this race, and we're not even a quarter of the way through yet.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a tough one. Pit stop's coming up, though, like we said, Tyler. Now, at Road Atlanta, if you're going to take 2 tires, we've seen some drivers in the past take a strategy risk and go for 4 tires. Do you think that's optimal at Road Atlanta?
I'm not quite sure, but we have side-by-side right now with Elvis Rankin and Jim List. Rankin will clear List as they head down into turn 10. But back to your question, though, Johnny, I'm really not too sure. I think that if you have considerable pace, I think that you could swing it, and you could possibly do a 4-tire strategy and try to make up the time on the racetrack versus in the pit lane. But I think if you're someone on the back foot, you really can't afford to do that unless you're in a position where you can make a good strategy gamble and hope that it pays off for you. And really, for me, I think that that's going to be the guys that will do the 4-tire strategy tonight, are the guys who just want to take the gamble and want to see what happens.
Yep, definitely. Fuel shouldn't be an issue for today's event. Contact here, Jeff Jacobs versus Clint Vigas in the Mech Motorsports car. Oh man, how did they make turn 1 alongside each other? That's insane. There's Jeff Jacobs right behind Vigas here in the battle for 5th in class. Vigas' teammate in Shiflet's doing well. He's up ahead of Kevin Ford for the final podium position. But for Vigas in his return race to the series, he's got a bit of work to do here and a bit of argy-bargy as they head into 5 here. He's going to dispose of that 45 eSport Racer MX-5 of Brendan Horan. He does. But, man, a new livery as well, I think, for Clint Vigas. Haven't seen that on the car for quite a while.
Yeah, I do believe that is a new livery as he gets very close to the back of the number 154 MX-5 of Jacob Beasley, and he will easily clear him in the straightaway. But yeah, definitely a new livery for Clint Vigas in the Mech Motorsports. And I also think a pretty new livery here for Jeff Jacobs as well. I'm actually really digging the new livery. I think that it looks very, very good with the orange on the car. I'm very particular to orange. So anything with an orange car, you're definitely going to get a vote for me.
Oh, you like McLaren then, I heard.
Oh, yes. Love McLaren.
So Vigas is in 5th. Now Shiflett is up about, 9 seconds up the road on these two. So he'll be into the first sector right now, Shiflett. And he's in a nice scrap with Kevin Ford. How do you think Kevin Ford's race is going here? We know Kevin Ford is easily can win races if he had more time and commitment to the series for sure. But for Ford anyway, having a good race so far. But Tyler, can I say, when you are vice president of Extreme Motorsports and the Ricmotech series admin, it's hard to find time to race and test as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Ford really does just so much for the series, and like you said, it's very difficult for him to find that little bit of extra time. I mean, there's a lot that goes in to being the league admin, and to also be racing in the league as well. I can't even imagine how many hours he's got to be putting in to sim racing related activities. But he does a great job as the league admin, and we love having him on board. And we also love having him out racing. And like you said, I really wish that he had some more practice time, because I think he would be an awesome competitor to the likes of Aeronam and Mike Dam if he had the total number of hours that he could just put into it and practice like they do.
Yeah, definitely. You know what, Tyler? I reckon if he committed less time to track guides, he might find an extra 10th in lap time. But we don't want him to, because the track guides are awesome.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, these track guides are like some of the best things that we have. I absolutely love playing them at the start of the broadcast, because I really think, for me, it's exciting to let everybody, kind of know the history of the racetrack before we get into it. I think it's absolutely awesome to give everybody kind of a sneak peek at what to expect out of a racetrack before we go there. And you can see he's all over the back right now of Tyler Shiflett, who's stuck behind some MX-5s. So Ford may have the opportunity to get himself up into 3rd here.
He'll be caught behind 2, though, heading into turn 5. So for Ford, he's going to remain behind for the moment. So with pit stops coming up, ladies and gentlemen, there are some battles that will ensue and will continue. But for now, though, we'll take an ad break and we'll bring you all that pit stop action coming up in a few minutes' time. Don't miss it. You're watching Round 6 for Season 16 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. All coverage back on Apex Racing TV shortly. Welcome back to coverage of Round 6, Season 16 for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. We're live here on Apex Racing TV on our associated platforms. Almost halfway through the race, you can see at the top left-hand side of the screen of this 60-minute event from Road Atlanta. We're currently watching this scrap on screen for third overall in our TCR class. Matt Madigan leads the order ahead of Eric Violet, Brandon Whitworth, and of course, fourth in line is Tony Kernan in the 84 Kernan Motorsports car. Now, Tyler, how can we sum up this race so far? The TCR grid has been eventful, and it's mostly to blame on the traffic. And when I say blame, I mean as in a good way. It's not a euphemism.
Yeah, to definitely sum up this race, you've just got to say insanely action-packed is basically the only thing that I can really use to sum it up. That right there that you're seeing on your screen right now, that basically sums up this race perfectly. It has been an extremely big traffic game tonight. Like you said, the traffic has mixed this race up so much, and it has really added in a lot of different elements that these drivers have to think about. And that's what I love about coming to Road Atlanta, is that the guys here, this is probably the most physically or the most mentally demanding of any racetrack, not because of its length, not because of its corner difficulty, but because of what you have to be thinking about for traffic. As there's an MX-5 into the pits, that's going to be Derek Holland. He'll be one of the first ones down onto the lane in your MX-5s.
And we spoke about that pre-ad break. Pit stops were coming up here about halfway through the race. We're expecting the TCR cars to come in latest, but somebody's always willing to throw a spanner in the works here, as Kevin Ford is trying to make his way up the inside of Shiflett. And they're alongside each other heading into turn 1. Now, Shiflett was in 4th for a lot of this race so far. And with some front-end damage to that car, it won't be too easy to drive there. But there you can see Ford into 3rd with a brilliant pass into turn 1. Not the easiest overtaking opportunity on the circuit. So that's Kevin Ford provisionally on the podium for the moment. Now we see a TCR car in the pit lane. It's Lucas Ford. Elvis Rankin, though, in our MX-5 order, is in the pit lane along with Jacob Beasley. Greg Mack, of course, there as well. And these are important pit stops because Elvis Rankin is looking good for a podium today.
Yeah, he's definitely looking good for a podium. I think we kind of underestimated him, honestly, going into this race. I just don't think from his qualifying position, it didn't look like he was going to be super competitive, but he has proved us wrong, certainly here today. He has really got some incredible pace, and he will work his way back out onto the racetrack, and now he's got the tough task of trying to close in a nice gap. As here we go, Jim List and John Allen side by side. Allen trying to make up what he had lost previously, and he will easily take that down the back straightaway this time. So John Allen up into 4th place. Now it's a question of where is Elvis Rankin going to come out in comparison to these guys?
Yeah, it certainly will. So, well, these guys are yet to make the pit stop. Other way around, I think you mean. But we'll see whether or not Allen can jump Rankin and remain ahead of him anyway. This is Mike Dam for the Crypto Orange Racing team. He's in the box. Look at the left-hand side of the screen here. So many cars in the pit lane here. We got a pit party. Hartley, our leader, into the pit lane. He allows Schwenke to lead a lap for the first time today. Some bonus points for Travis. And now we see Jim List and John Allen enter the box. We just watched them battle it out on the back straight heading to turn 10. And goodness me, Tyler, are there more, I might be wrong, are there more pits than there are non-pits at the moment?
We're
Feels
right
that
about
way.
50-50. To be honest with you, you can just see how many drivers are down onto the lane. A few drivers just about to get rolling. There goes Chad Parker. He is the first of your TCR, second of your TCR, sorry, to come out onto the track once again. Kevin Carlisle, dominating performance here thus far. He's got nearly 8 seconds on your field after we've gone through traffic twice. And here goes Aeronam down into the pit lane. He will now take his service. Kevin Ford, I think, will come in as well. So a lot of drivers going on and off pit road. It is incredibly busy right now. And you can see, look at how easy it has been for Elvis Rankin to jump John Allen. He's nearly 6 seconds ahead now.
Aeronam, our lone Estonian in the field. Very US Canadian dominated field here for the Ricmotech SportsCar Series, of course. Aeronom staying up in the early hours of the morning for a series he's been champion multiple times in that Mustang. It'll be interesting to see whether he makes the jump to a different car. Now he's come out behind Kevin Ford and behind Steve Daniel. Is that John Allen? John Allen's with issues at turn 5. And, well, here's the replay up on screen. We'll look at it. This is Schwenke we're watching. Allen's already mucked it up through the S's, and he's tried to save that car an abundance of times.
Yeah, so he started to slide at the top of the S's, slid more at the bottom of the S's, then slid again and spun. Wow, what an avoiding job there from Jim List and John Allen. Luckily for him, he doesn't get hit. Travis Schwenke's now onto the pit road. Now let's see where Elvis Rankin comes out in comparison to him. I think he's going to come out No, he'll come out behind him for sure because Schwenke's already started to roll. Mike Taylor down onto the lane, and Robert Hartley and Allison Drini take back over the race lead.
Yeah, Schwenke, though, with fresher rubber. 1 lap fresher over Alessandrini and Hartley. DJ into the lead, though, after the pit stop phase, more importantly. And DJ Alessandrini will lead here. And he leads the championship standings. This is important for him to extend his lead. Here's leader Kevin Carlisle.
And now it's a TCR pit party as the front 4 will come down onto pit road here, and they will do their services. So all 4 of the top 4 are on pit road. Now where will Chad Parker come out in comparison to Kevin Carlisle? That's the next biggest question mark. There's been a lot of question marks on and off pit road today for all these guys. But one thing I am liking is that everyone has kind of agreed. The 30-minute mark is really the time to come in. So we are going to get some great racing once again because no one's going to be spread out.
Well, I've run out of breath almost, so we'll have to update everybody on the order post-pit stop phase. But Carlisle, for the moment, is already out in the way, and he maintains the lead ahead of Whitworth, Violet, and Jeff Applegren. Let's see whether or not the other 3 end up ahead of at least Madigan. Madigan's crossed the line now, and it'll be interesting to see. Here is one of the D2D esports cars. This is Madigan on screen. He's currently in 4th. Just ahead there of, that looks like Brandon Whitworth, I believe.
Yep, so he's just ahead of Whitworth. What's happened to Jeff Applegren and Tony Kernan? They must have made contact because they both went off. I think... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I know exactly what this is. This is a No, actually. It was just a little bit of miscommunication there about who was going to go first and a bit of contact, and off the track they go. Kevin Ford now down onto pit road here for the first time tonight. Aeronom will retake the race lead, but this is crucial here. He's now 7 seconds ahead of Mike Dam.
Not a bad way to make contact and cut the track like that. You wouldn't have lost too much time, as Kevin Ford is in the pits. Should lead ahead of Shiflett, possibly. It's going to be a battle between him and Shiflett for that 3rd position. Madigan, though, close to Violet here for 3rd. Violet throws the car into the apex for sure, but Madigan's got a better run here through the exit. So Madigan in 4th after the pit stop phase. It says he's in 6th in car, but that will update as he crosses the start-finish line there. That gives you the good feel of how spread out this TCR field is. Not that much, as we see Whitworth pushing to the limit. Madigan right behind Violet here for 3rd. Still not close enough to make the move into 1. And now heading into 2 and 3, and then through the S's. Madigan, we saw this happen with Jeff Applegren a lap ago. He pushes Violet off the racetrack. No contact, though. Forces him off with a bit of pressure. Violet rejoins quite abruptly, much like Alonso at Spain in 2007. And that will have to force Whitworth onto the brakes. And a brilliant pass there, I have to say, by Matthew Madigan. It was clean, forced Violet off with a bit of pressure, and that was a brilliant game of chess between the two.
Yeah, really, really nice battle they just had. But this is a great battle as well. Allison Drini and Hartley. These two have not let off each other's bumper pretty much all race long here. But now it's Allison Drini who leads from Hartley. It was Hartley from Allison Drini earlier, but that has now switched. And now it's Allison Drini feeling the pressure from Robert Hartley. We know how fast Robert Hartley is in these MX-5s. I mean, you don't get 9,000 I rating and be a slouch driver, but DJ Alessandrini isn't a slouch either, though. I mean, at 6,000, these guys have some very high I ratings in this league. I've really started to notice that these guys are attracting more and more 4K plus drivers.
Very high skilled field here. Very skilled is the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Robert Hartley leads our iRating field, I should say, with almost 10K. Robert Hartley is one of the all-time greatest iRacing drivers. As we watch Alessandrini battle it out here with Rob Hartley. And the number 3 throws it up the inside, proving 10K iRating is not just a number. It is cemented. Hartley's in first, but Alessandrini going for the switchback here, heading into the final corner. This is brilliant from DJ as he has the inside line. I think they're going to be alongside each other on the main straight. It's going to be close, but I'll tell you what, Hartley's had to concede for the moment. I think Alessandrini's got this.
So DJ Alessandrini just barely slips ahead. If you want to keep track of who is in the lead of the classes, and you don't want to look over on the timing screen, you can now see them up at the top of the screen here for all 3 of your different classes. You also have the color codes and what they mean, so that you can keep up with everything here that we have thus far. So just about 40 minutes into the race now, and the lead in the MX-5 still isn't changed since lap number 1. These guys are still pretty much glued to each other's bumper, and they haven't let each other exceed half a second gap for more than maybe a lap or 2 when the pit stop phase has happened.
What a cracking race so far. Yeah, it flies, doesn't it, Tyler? Time flies when the race is this good. We're 38 minutes through. We're almost into the closing third of the event. And it's really flown by, hasn't it? I've enjoyed this one. And the battle for the lead continues here. Hartley, round 2 versus DJ Alessandrini. These two have had some good scraps over the past few seasons. And Hartley's return to the Sports Car Series. He wants a win here at Road Atlanta for sure. This time he's going to have to try and lock it on the apex. He tried it, but Alessandrini knew that. And he stuck it around the outside, kept all the momentum, and now this is like deja vu from a lap ago, except this time Hartley should keep the throttle on here around the outside. He can't back off. He does exactly that. Smart driving from Robert Hartley here. High IQ driving from both these two. And I think Hartley should have the lead here heading into 1. Alessandrini keeps the nose alongside him. Now still alongside each other through the S's. The battle continues.
These guys really aren't letting each other get anything for a gap here. They are really, really close. Robert Hartley, he's trying every trick in the book to get the move done down the back straightaway because that's really the best shot that he's got. But I think he just needs to stick in line, possibly push DJ Alessandrini a little bit and try to get the move done down into turn number 1 because it's going to be nearly impossible to cover the switchback from Alessandrini. And if he does cover the switchback, then it's pretty much going to be impossible to defend from Alessandrini in turn 1 anyway.
So this is your closest scrap throughout the field. Clinton Vargas versus Steve Daniel is also close for the bottom end of the Mustangs. These two are right ahead of that battle. Vargas and Daniel coming close to the 2 leaders now. I don't know if they'll appear in shot. No, that's Schwenke in shot. And then we also have Whitworth behind Violet in our TCR field. So here we go now. Round 3 between these two. Hartley this time, he's going to try something different. He knows he has to. And he remains behind for the moment. I think he could have made a move. Now he's going to try and get a run out of turn 10. So I'm interested to see, Tyler, what Hartley's doing here. I don't think he's lacking pace. I think he's trying something different, but didn't work this lap round.
Yeah, I think he's just trying something a little bit different here, and he's trying to see what he can make work. Side by side down into turn number 1. He's gonna possibly make it work. They're still side by side though, but he'll have the inside for turn number 3, and I think that's gonna be it for Robert Hartley, but he can't get enough alongside. It is still DJ Alessandrini who leads. Wow, what a battle we're having at the lead of your MX-5s 40 minutes into this race.
Can't take our eyes off this. Cannot take our eyes off this for one split second. Hartley there. This is some high IQ driving from one of the greatest iRacers of all time. And he is still remaining behind Alessandrini yet another lap. So I'm intrigued to see Hartley here. Will he go back to one of the moves he made a few laps ago? He'll need a good run out of here. A good run will help coming out of 7. Now onto the back straight. Let's see how he goes.
A good run will definitely help, but it may not be enough, to be honest with you, for Robert Hartley. Let's jump on our onboard camera here from the roof of Robert Hartley. As he heads down, he's going to try the outside this time, so new location for Robert Hartley. He's definitely going for something different. He's trying every trick in the book here, and he will have to concede. Will DJ Alessandrini. Hartley now leads as they work their way through lap number 24.
If you're new to sim racing right now and you want to learn how to battle and what racecraft is all about, just remember these past few minutes. This is some of the best racecraft I've seen in my years covering iRacing, and the battle continues for first as Alessandrini fights back. Hartley just can't get it done. Oh man, he's not going to have room here to stick it up the inside, so he has to form up. Now, okay, if traffic comes into the equation, this could benefit one of the two. So maybe traffic now for round number 5, Tyler, in this battle, 5 laps in a row. Maybe traffic will cause some issues for the two.
It's definitely a possibility, but I think it's going to go all down on the straightaway, which is exactly what these two want. And if anything, it's only going to be one car getting by, so both cars won't get by. It's possibly going to cost... Oh, this is perfect for Hartley. Yeah, just as you said, Hartley is going to benefit massively from this because he's going to be able to track out. Alessandrini wasn't able to, and that's lost momentum here for DJ Alessandrini.
But Hartley just didn't get the run out of the corner as he expected. Now, what's he doing? He needs a draft from someone. He's not sticking in the draft anywhere. I'll tell you what, it looks close from further out, but look at the gap between the two. That's almost a couple of car lengths here separating our two leaders. So those two cars, as I mentioned about a few minutes ago, were Clint Vigas and Steve Daniels. So they're in a scrap for 7th and 8th in your GS class. And they finally make their way past the two leaders. So I think we're going to have some breathing room. Goodness me, I didn't think we'd have it. Between Alessandrini and Hartley. Schwenke 3.5 seconds behind. Now remember, Schwenke is on fresher rubber. He hasn't caught the two, despite the two battling all these laps. Although last lap, Schwenke was a bit faster than both of them as they maneuvered their way around the traffic.
Yeah, he isn't really catching all that much right now, but you have to think, I mean, he's honestly lost a second as wow, that was sideways for Alessandrini then. At the top of the hill, Aero Nom wasting no time. He's going to get in the middle of these two, and he's going to slightly hurt Robert Hartley and not really have any effect on Alessandrini. Alessandrini runs very, very wide, though, but still nothing that Hartley can do about it. It closed up the gap a little bit, but certainly not enough to make any difference here. As we work our way through now what is 45 minutes in almost, and we're just about down to the last 15 minutes of this race.
Yeah, Rankin's looking good too. Don't leave out Elvis Rankin out of this battle. So he's quickest MX-5 driver in the field. He's about 3.5 seconds behind Schwenke too. So that's something we'll look out for. Matt, look, we like to cover all these classes, right? But we just can't take our eyes off Alessandrini and Hartley. As Robert going to make a move here up the inside. No, Bobby thinks better of it, and he's going to remain behind for the moment. You think anyone's ever called Hartley Bobby Hartley?
I'm not sure, but that's definitely the first I've heard of it. But yeah, these guys, man, what a battle this has been. Here comes your overall race leader, Kevin Carlisle. Easily will get by on the straightaway. And I was just about to say, as we have some little bit of breathing room in your MX-5 battle, but as soon as I say that, these guys are right back within 1/10 of a second of each other. So no breathing room whatsoever, and it looks like we're just going to be sticking on this battle until one person finally stays in the lead to the end of it.
Oh, and look at this, Hartley on the attack here on Alessandrini. He certainly looks quicker, I'd say, out of the two, but Alessandrini is doing a splendid job here of making that car as wide as possible. Here is the Mustang. It looks like Aero Nom, isn't it? So we just had the leader of your TCR class past the leaders of your MX-5 class. Now the leader of your Mustang class passes the leader of your MX-5 order here, as Robert Hartley has the best run he's had in quite some time here. Coming off the back straight, there is Chad Parker. He's going to make his way past these two. He's second overall in this race. A lot of leaders so far in this shot. We could almost get them in one shot, to be honest with you, Tyler, if we had a good angle here. But it's not going to be possible. What do you think Hartley's going to make the move here? Around the outside again?
Oh, I'm really not sure. I don't even think he's going to try it. No, he's not. He's not even going to try it right now. I think right now the best opportunity for Hartley is going to be if he can get the switchback off of turn 10A and B and down into turn number 12, into this final corner right here. That's really going to be Hartley's best shot. If he can get to the inside there, it's nearly impossible to go around the outside.
Oh no, 3 wide into 1's not going to work. Thank you, Robert, for being a wise man as they head into turn 1. A lot of traffic at the moment. A lot of traffic to deal with heading into this blind turn 3 right-hander. 1 to 4 and then through the S's here. Hartley's lost the rear end just a little bit through there. It's going to cost him some time. He's lost an immense amount of time. And I think this is beneficial for DJ Alessandrini. So, with just over 10 minutes in the race here, let's round out the field. Your TCR order, Tyler. The battle for the lead is non-existent. Kevin Carlisle's been leading this race. He's been dominating, and he looks good towards claiming yet another race win and extending his championship lead.
He certainly does. Kevin Carlisle way out in the race lead over second place Chad Parker for D2D Esports. Then Chad has about a 2-second lead over Matt Madigan. That's the first of the Nerdworks cars. Then we have another D2D Esports entry with Eric Violet. He is 4th, and then D2D Esports Brandon Whitworth rounds out your top 5. So 3 D2D Esports cars in the top 5. That's not a bad showing for these guys here.
They've improved throughout this campaign for Season 16, so I'm really intrigued to see how they end the campaign heading into April for the first season of 2020. And then we look at your Mustang order. Iranom's dominated the field so far today. He's 5.5 seconds, now 6 ahead of Mike Dam to lead that order, and he looks good to claiming yet another race win. But for Tyler Schiffler and Kevin Ford behind, the battle continues for the podium, Tyler. They've been in a good scrap this entire race, don't forget. Ford was in 3rd at one stage. Come pit stop time, though, Schiffler remains in 3rd and looks good to keep that position in the closing laps. But Kevin Ford is a tough cookie right now, and I know he's going to put everything on the table here to try and beat Schiffler for 3rd.
Yeah, he certainly is. There's only 0.8 of a second separating them, so there's definitely still a battle there. And Kevin Ford can certainly still close that up. And he's doing that right now. He's down to 0.7 of a second. Make that 0.6 of a second as we speak. He is closing in a lot of time here. In the closing 11 minutes of this race is Kevin Ford. He's doing an amazing job right now. But someone else that's definitely close is Jeff Appelgren and Brandon Whitworth.
Into 10 they go. The form up for the moment. There's Nom in the sandwich there. Nom, nom, nom. And he's going to try and eat these guys up if possible. Have to be passed by them. Just lets him go there. Iranom doesn't want anything to ruin his race for the moment. He's had a good season, Iranom. Always love speaking to him after the race too, Tyler. It's not a post-race interview without Iranom. It reminds me of Sebastian Vettel back in the early 2010s. And he was, oh goodness, that's a riding shotgun motorsports car, isn't it? The 66 of Mike Taylor in some traffic. But yeah, without Iranom post-race, it's not a post-race interview.
No, it's really not, and we haven't had him in the booth in some time, really, and it feels like it's kind of weird ending off a broadcast without speaking to Iranom. We spoke with him so many times last season because he won every single race last season, and then he got some very good competition in the form of Mike Dam back in the Mustang this time around, and that was what he needed, really, to challenge himself. And Iranom really, though, putting on a nice performance here today. 6 seconds. He has pulled out another awesome strategy, has Iranom. We know he's the strategy guru for a reason, and he's done that again today. Very, very far out into the race lead, but look who's closing in on your race leader. That's Robert Hartley. He's down to 0.7 of a second. Keep in mind, just 3 minutes ago, that guy was at 1.2 seconds.
Yep, and don't forget, we were rounding out the order. We haven't rounded out our MX5 field. It's Robert Hartley currently looking towards claiming a race victory, but he just can't find a way past DJ Alessandrini, who's driven splendidly yet again today. Good to see Alessandrini back on top, looking to extend his championship lead. Schwenke, though, is in third, the second Excite Racing Team car. And Albus Rankin having a good race, up 2 positions here on Jim List and John Allen. Jim List in 5th, down a spot, but John Allen, after his spin, still in 6th and should still claim a good haul of points. Tell you what, without that spin for John Allen, he's only lost a position nevertheless. Now, that would you'd still be kicking yourself, wouldn't you, Tyler? You're a motor racer yourself, of course. You still kick yourself for that, but it's not like he's lost a potential win from that spin. He just hasn't had the pace today.
No, you're definitely, I mean, no matter what, you're kicking yourself for it, but if anything, I mean, it's just kind of, it's a little bit annoying, you know, whenever you know I wasn't even like I was pushing for a race-winning position, but it kind of hurts more and also makes it feel a little bit better. So it's kind of a weird balance there. You know, it just kind of depends on the way you look at it, because 1.5 years like, wow, I can't believe you just spun it, and no one was even around you. You weren't fighting for anything. And then the other half of you is thinking, I wasn't even fighting for a race lead. Why... like, I needed to push to actually get there, and I spun. So I mean, it's kind of unfortunate no matter what way you look at it, but this is getting close here for the lead in your MX-5s. These guys are now down to 0.3 of a second, and we only have 7 minutes to go. This is going to get very spicy down into 10A and B.
Now, is Hartley quicker than Alessandrini, Tyler, on pure pace, or do you think it's tire management? Great question. Let's answer that in a couple of seconds' time, because Hartley here searching for the lead yet again. There is a very damaged MX-5 up ahead. I don't even know if that's a car anymore. As Hartley now heading into turn 10. Oh, that car's busted. It's almost in the way of the leaders. The 154 there, out of the way. That's almost cost Hartley a potential chance at victory.
Wow, that was very close there. Nice job by Robert Hartley, though, to avoid him. That was Jacob Beasley in the 154 due to the esports entry. So, unfortunate for him, that will end his day just 7 minutes from the end of it. That is so unfortunate. Not the way you want to cap off your race here today. But these guys are not letting up whatsoever. They are oh so close here for the race lead. Hartley's trying everything he can. He almost had it done there until that happened. But not the position for Hartley to get it done. That may be a blessing in disguise, though, for him, so that he knows that if he can get there enough alongside on the final lap, that he can make that move stick.
Beasley is no stranger to drama, and yet again we see him almost unintentionally take out your leaders here. Hartley just had to back off there for sure. Heading into 10. This is deja vu right now. It reminds me of David Coulthard. I think, was it against Enrique Benoldi? Early 2000s at Monaco in Formula One. Coulthard just couldn't find his way past the arrows. I can't remember what year that was. It was 2000 or 2001, one of those years. But Coulthard had his work cut out for him, and it looks like it's going to be the same for Hartley. This time around, these two aren't back markers, though. They're fighting for the lead here as Hartley now. Now, the outside line almost worked last time round. Let's see whether or not it works this time round. Hartley deep on the brakes here with the left foot. Now onto the throttle with the right foot and maintains the lead. It's up for this run back into turn 1 for Alessandrini. Let's see if he can reclaim the lead like he did 10 minutes ago. Almost bump drafting. Now to the wide shot. Alessandrini sneaks a nose up the inside yet again. They're still alongside each other heading into turn 1. Now heading into 3. I think Hartley's done it. He might have finally done it here. It's taken him over 20 minutes to make the move. He's run a bit wide though heading into turn 4. And now he has to maintain the advantage heading into the S's. This is critical for Robert Hartley here with less than 5 minutes remaining in this race.
Yeah, this is very critical, but that may be just 5 minutes too early here. I think he pulled the plug a little bit too early. He should have waited now, because now he puts Alessandrini in the perfect seat to try and make a move on him. And we know how good Alessandrini is at getting those moves. I mean, he did that crossover move on Hartley 4 or 5 different times. So that, I'm not sure that was the smartest idea for Robert Hartley to try and do, unless he's confident that he can pull away on pure pace, and I think that he's doing that right now because he is gapping DJ Alessandrini by quite some margin, considering he only got it by him in turn 3.
Brilliant stuff, and I think, so I agree with you, Tyler, but then I thought as well, what if Hartley thinks he can break away from Alessandrini? And he's doing exactly that here, heading into turn 10. So only a few laps to go between these two. Hartley finally will lead a full entire lap for the first time in quite some time here at Road Atlanta for round 6. Now, he's been absent from the championship for quite some time. There's a stricken MX-5 off the racetrack to retire. But that looks like Mike Taylor in the riding shotgun motorsports car. And he might have just blown this engine. Oh, no, wait, has there been contact here?
Oh, yeah, that's contact with a Mustang.
Goodness me.
That was with the, what looks to be, sorry, looking for the driver here, Jeff Jacobs. That looks to be with Jeff Jacobs. And yes, indeed it was. So unfortunate there. That's going to end Mike Taylor's day. He was a little bit down the order near MX-5s, but still, that was a decent position for him, and would have been some good points.
Alessandrini back in the lead here as soon as we looked at the replay. DJ back into P1 with a couple minutes remaining.
We'll quickly look at a replay of that one, then we'll jump back live here. We'll see how it happened. Down into turn number 1. I'm assuming this happened up at the top of the hill at turn 3. There's a lapped car just ahead of him. Hartley got a bit loose, and that was all that Alessandrini needed. He said, thank you very much. I will take the race lead. But we got to jump back live here because Hartley is all over the back of Alessandrini. He's trying to round the outside one more time. 2 minutes to go to the end. Carlisle's going to be seeing a white flag here in just a couple of moments' time.
We'll keep an eye on where Carlisle is on the racetrack. Here's Hartley, though, around the outside. Oh, this time DJ sticks it to him. Alongside each other, heading into 10A and 10B. And now through 11 and 12, over the crest, over this blind right-hander. Now to end the lap, Alessandrini. Oh, he keeps the lead here from Robert Hartley. And with only, this is the final lap, isn't it, Tyler, for these two? I believe, as Carlisle, actually, no, excuse me, Carlisle will begin his final lap now. So they'll have another shot at it, these two. But I'll tell you what, though, the battle's never going to end.
No, it certainly isn't. And here's another battle. This is between Applegren and Whitworth, a little bit further down in your TCR field, as they kind of, the two leaders in MX-5 kind of calm down for the initial sector of the lap where you really can't do all that much passing once you get through turn 3 until you get turned down to about turn 6 or 7. So we get to kind of focus on this battle, but nothing comes of it yet. These guys still all over the bumpers, though, but still nothing able to get from it there. And you can just see how close Applegren's getting to the back of Brandon Whitworth as he loses time behind his teammate in the MX-5. As Jim List, very sideways, saves it back across the track into Applegren. Applegren makes contact with him, and that is Jim List spun around. John Allen will move up to 5th. We'll get a replay of that in a moment after we see what's going to go down here between your two race leaders.
Oh, the most harem-scarum race we've had in this series. And it still continues here as the 1 hour mark passes. Your two leaders in your ST class continue to fight here. They're going to have one more go at it as Alessandrini and Hartley just can't get enough of each other. They're fighting for critical points. As Hartley is struggling in the championship, he's missed a few rounds, but for pride and a bit of confidence, this is the perfect result for him as he goes for the inside. We're going to keep an eye on Kevin Carlisle, who's coming to the checkered flag. Carlisle will win round 6. The fight continues between Hartley and Alessandrini, and Alessandrini remains ahead. But for Kevin Carlisle, victor for round 6, finally, after a dominant hour.
Yeah, what a race then for Kevin Carlisle. Dominant victory, like you said. And he really just controlled this one out. But we'll have to go back. We'll have to focus on that in the post-race show here. Because right now, it's all about the lead in your ST class. These guys have been relentless of each other as we go to the chopper cam to watch this final few corners take place through 6 and now into 7. And then we'll head onto the long back straightaway before we head down into 10A and B. Robert Hartley, he's got to get a perfect run out of this corner if he even wants a chance. On board with him now to see if he's going to try it around the outside or if he's going to try and get the switchback move.
Aeronom crosses the line and wins your GS class. And now, who's going to be the winner of your ST class? Hartley to the inside of turn 10. It's been a while since he's tried the inside heading into here, but the battle that's lasted for half an hour in this race is yet to come to an end. But it's going to in a couple of laps' time. Contact between the two. Alessandrini, with a bit of extracurricular activity, forces his way up the inside and forces his way to a race victory here for round 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series for Season 16. What do you make of that move, Tyler? And it was a bit physical, but a bit of argy-bargy didn't hurt anybody.
No, it didn't. I'd like to ride on board here with DJ Alessandrini just to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. So on board, down into 10A&B. You can see Hartley there on the inside. And then we'll slow this down a little bit. Hartley pushes him off the racetrack just a bit. And then Alessandrini is on the inside, has nowhere to go, and kind of into Hartley there. So that was really what happened there. To be honest with you, I don't blame Travis for any of that. I think that that was a perfectly acceptable move, considering what happened to him with Robert Hartley, because Hartley kind of inflicted that on himself. I mean, there was really nothing that Alessandrini could do on that case.
Yep, DJ, I think, I'll tell you what, if I'm race stewards, I'll let that one go. A bit of good racing between the two. And finally, after half an hour, this race comes to an end. Can you imagine, Tyler, if this race was a 90-minute enduro? I think we'd be focusing on that battle for another 30 minutes.
Oh, I know. That was, wow. That was just an incredible race from these guys. I mean, these guys really did just have an incredible day here in the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. But with that, we'll take you through the final race results of the evening.
So it's Kevin Carlisle who will win today's event here for round 6, season 16 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Chad Parker followed behind in second for the podium, and Matt Madigan with a late move on Eric Violet ended up claiming third. So that's something that we missed off screen, but the Nerdworks driver ends up in third. That was a brilliant result for Matt Madigan. Violet Whitworth, though, ended up 4th and 5th. Still a good result for those two. Nevertheless, though, the D2D Esports cars looking strong here to close out the season with 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Jeff Appelgren with an eventful race ended up in 6th, followed by Tony Kernan and Lucas Ford. Bobby Childs was a DNF for your TCR field, and those were your 9 cars heading that top class. Aeronom won your GS class, just ahead of Mike Dam here. The battle continues for the championship between those two, but Aeronom, the Estonian, ends out on top this time round. Tyler Shiflett ended up on the podium. He won that close-fought battle with Kevin Ford and him, and they ended up 3rd and 4th overall. Jeff Jacobs right behind in 5th. Clint Vigas ended up in 7th, just behind Russ Ruddock at the end of the day, so not the best return race for Vigas, who finished ahead of Steve Daniel in 8th. Alessandrini, oh man, what a race between Alessandrini and Robert Hartley. Two of the best iRacers on the service in that MX-5. And they gave us a battle to remember for years to come. I've been commentating on iRacing for, I think, now 6 years. And that has to be one of the best fought battles I've ever seen on this service. And even the contact at the end was fun to watch. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks contact is always, oh, it's dirty and all this kind of stuff. But tell you what, at the end of the day, I don't mind a bit of contact. Like they say in basketball, there's no blood, there's no foul. And at the end of the day, both finished 1st and 2nd. And it was a nice ending to the race, nevertheless, after such a clean fight anyway throughout the entirety of this race. Schwenke rounded out the podium just behind them. Elvis Rankin, a good result for him. Consistent points, though, and it's what he needed. Didn't really have the pace today, did Elvis Rankin. We noticed that. Didn't qualify that well, because normally he seems to qualify better than he races. and today it sort of came out. So for Elvis Rankin, back to the drawing board for round 7, but we know the young man with 2 race wins this season can easily spring up a surprise in these final few rounds and possibly claim a championship for himself, because don't forget, he's still in contention. John Allen ended up ahead of Jim List at the end of the race, List losing out after a late race mistake, it seems. Jason Bossy wins out your open class yet again and extends his championship lead ahead of Derek Holland, Brennan Horan, Greg Brockway, and you can see the rest of the order down the screen. The Asbury Motorsports car of Geordie Fike, Mike Taylor with a late race DNF, Michael Key as well, ended up 29th overall. Saw Greg Mack and Jacob Beasley. Jacob Beasley had that late race engine blow up, pretty much had nothing left of the car, and that was a dramatic end to the race for him. Chris Thorman, Bobby Childs out of the race early, of course, too, along with Eric Klister, Patrick Prevenas, and David Payton, our 36 car field for today's event. So post-race interview time. It's time to speak to your winner overall. It was Kevin Carlisle in the Apex Racing TV, or Apex Racing Team number 72, Kevin. Well, there's no bias on our Apex Racing TV network, but what a victory for you as well. You extend the championship lead. Now, there was a lot of action behind, and I'm sure you want to rewatch the race in all classes of cars, but for you, it seemed a pretty uneventful race near the top.
Yeah, the early few laps were a bit pressed, but the rest of it I just kind of cruised, set in cruise control, tried to keep my nose clean and keep it on track. But yeah, I think it was lap 3 or 4, I had to regain the lead. Me and Chad were fighting pretty rough in traffic there, but after that I just set on cruise control.
Yeah, we noticed that in the early laps is once you seem to catch the traffic, it really cost you a lot of time. And it seemed very harem-scarum, you know. One thing we expected at Motegi in this series was for everybody, especially you guys in the TCR field, to find your way easily around lap traffic. And it wasn't any easier at Motegi. Now, if it's not easy at Motegi, it can't be any easier at a track like Road Atlanta, which just has so many tight sections.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't, especially in the S's. Right after turn 2, the S's after that, it's just kind of sit and wait, and you can just watch your relative just close in. It's so sad, but after you get on the straightaway, you can pretty much pass them. But if you don't get a good exit on the straightaway corner and you don't close up in time, then you kind of run out of room, and you don't really want to rear end anybody going to that tight chicane. So you got to be really patient and just watch your nose, definitely, because the slower cars they apex a little bit differently than the TCRs. So we can dive bomb them, but at the same point, they're closing that door, and we just don't want to cause collision. So it's really important to be patient.
Finally, a lot of people to thank, of course, as well for the Apex Racing Team number 72 car. You can thank us in the Apex Racing TV commentary booth too. Don't forget, we're still part of the team.
Yeah.
But a brilliant race for you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys in the Apex Racing TV team, and thanks everybody at Apex Racing. Really awesome group of guys, talented drivers. Thanks to Matt Madigan and Jeff Applegren at NerdWorks. They practice with me throughout the week. Thanks to everybody watching, and thanks to the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech series for putting it on. It's an awesome show.
So there you go. That's Kevin Carlisle, your race winner, and he extends his championship lead, Tyler, over the likes of Chad Parker, who had a brilliant race in second. You're stood alongside him.
Yeah, Chad, hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, great race from you, Chad. I mean, it obviously isn't exactly what you wanted. You would have wanted to be one step higher up on the podium, but second place, still good. It's still a nice haul of points for you, and with how close the championship is in this TCR class, I mean, you can't be all that mad with the second place finish.
No, I actually got a little gift from Kevin there early on with the traffic. I don't know if it made the broadcast, but he got stuck behind a Mazda, and I kind of shot past him. But really, he just had too much pace tonight. I couldn't hang with him the long run. So, but I'll take the second. That's my best pro finish with the league. So.
Well, like you said, your best finish with the league, and what a place to do it at. Like Road Atlanta, it's a very tough and tricky track. And like you said, I mean, some of the time you really just have to send it by these cars here. Talk about the traffic that you guys had to deal with today.
Yeah, the first time we caught up to the big pack of Mazdas, I mean, I didn't even know who was next to me or in front of me. Like, I mean, I knew what was right in front of me, but it was so tough, and I was trying not to let Kevin get away. So I hope I didn't mess anybody up too bad, but yeah, that was a little sketchy. And then after that, they kind of spread out, and it's not so bad. But if you catch them coming down through the S's, you lose 2 or 3 seconds trying to wait. So all the different Mazda drivers are a little bit different. Some of them will let you go. Some of them like fight for every inch of the track. So it's kind of hard to gauge sometimes. It really is just a little bit about luck. So I think Kevin might have gotten a little bit luckier with traffic. He was just faster overall. So
Well, congratulations once again on a second place finish. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, and anybody who just gets it done for you?
yeah, D2D Motorsports, everybody at D2D Esports, the league admins, you guys up in the booth, Proforma, Elite Texas Graphics, our sponsor, everybody involved with the team. I wouldn't be on the podium without those guys. So I appreciate everybody.
Well, congratulations, Chad. We hope to speak with you and I think about a week's time here for the next round.
Thanks, guys.
So next up will be our winner from our ST class, DJ Alessandrini. Goodness me, DJ, you must be pouring in sweat. You must be excited. I don't know what kind of emotions you have, but that's a race victory to remember for quite some time.
Oh, man, it was just a blast battling against Robert. The stars aligned to allow us just to have a duel of the decade. And, the decade's very young, but I'll take that title. And, yeah, it was just a great time. And, there's not many people in the world that I could race that hard and still have a clean car at the end of the race. And Robert's one of the few. So hats off to Robert. That was awesome racing. Either one of us could have won it. It was just a lot of fun.
Oh man, the thing I was most intrigued by was we were very fascinated by Robert's sort of IQ in terms of how he was battling for you. He tried something different almost at least the first 5 laps you were battling. He tried something different each time heading into turn 10. You just had something to counter it each time. I think you placed that car perfectly. You had the run on him each time. And then the one time he finally got you, he made a mistake into turn 1, and then you got the lead back. I just don't know how... the grit there from you was impressive.
So we had very different philosophies on setting our car up, and neither of us got a chance to do a long test on what side of the car fell off first. And the front of his car was falling off and the rear of my car was falling off. So out of 7, he would get a really good run out of 7 because you need the rear end grip to put the power down because you're all the way in second gear. And then through 10A, 10B, the front of my car was really good. So while Robert was having to wait to get on throttle, I wasn't. So then I would get a better run out of there, and then I'd be better through the S's. But then Robert would get a great launch out of 7. So honestly, it just made the greatest racing dynamic. It was just so much fun.
Oh man, and so much fun. I hope this continues into next week for sure, or for the next race. For you as well, a lot of people to thank in that number 91 Grid Life iRacers car, but another race victory for yourself. And let's not forget, you extend the championship lead.
I didn't even know I was in the lead. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to thank my fiance, Christine. I love her. She's pretty cool. And I'd like to thank everybody from my YouTube channel who came out to check out the race tonight. So hi, guys. Thank you. Sorry a video didn't come out today. It's week 13. I don't have any content to do on it besides some future GT4 content. So if you want to go check that out, it's literally my name is my YouTube channel, and come check out some GT4 content that will be coming out later this week.
And you've also got a Twitch channel now, don't you? We saw it at the back of your car.
Yeah, it's I was getting a much better feedback on YouTube than Twitch. I'm sure I'll go hang out in Twitch at some point, but honestly, like the YouTube videos and the YouTube is a much better discovery platform. So people stumble into you that would have never found you otherwise. And eventually what the hope is that I can go back to Twitch and have full chat rooms instead of like 5 or 6 people that, are just kind of lurking. But the YouTube stuff's been going great, and the feedback I've been getting is great. And it's so awesome. You hop into a race and somebody thanks you for the tutorials you've been making. And it's just a really, really, really great feeling. And shout out to, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but I got a very special comment from somebody who tuned in to one of my Grid Life Touring Cup races. I was racing at COTA a couple weeks ago, and he commented on one of my YouTube videos. He's like, I just tuned into the race, and it was so awesome seeing you in there. I didn't even know you did that stuff. And it was just so cool because it was like a first-hand experience of like, I'm trying to build my following, and I literally get a comment that shows that the evidence is there. And anybody else thinking to do the same thing, YouTube's a great platform for discovery. I highly suggest it.
Yeah, exactly. There's always we'll leave you to it, DJ. Good race so far, and congratulations on the win. But Tyler, as DJ says there, go and check him out on YouTube if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen. And Tyler, I always wonder, sometimes it's like 12:30 a.m. in the morning, I'm ready to go to sleep, and then all of a sudden some random video pops up in my YouTube recommended feed. Let's hope DJs pop up in a few others' feeds.
Yeah, certainly.
Hopefully. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we certainly will hope that. And now we'll get into our final interview of the day. Robert Hartley. Robert, you tried it there in 10A and B. Couldn't get it done. Kind of walk us through that final 2 corners that you had there. It was definitely action-packed.
Yeah, me and DJ had a great race after the pits there. It was kind of gloves off racing. But, yeah, I was getting good runs on him coming onto the back straightaway, and I could get up beside him, but it was hard to clear him because I couldn't get through 10A and 10B as good as he was. And I thought he was going to try to undercut off of 10B, and we just came together and couldn't run side by side to the line like I was hoping. But overall, it was an excellent race.
Yeah, certainly was an awesome race from you guys. I think DJ kind of alluded to it in his interview where you guys were kind of had the opposite to each other in strengths and weaknesses. You were, I think he said he was really good with front tires, but you had really good rear tires. So, that always plays a nice little factor. And at a track like Road Atlanta, that can be a really difficult aspect to work with. And you had to do that for quite a long time because you guys were battling for nearly half of this race, maybe longer.
Me and DJ kind of worked together on some things, and we discussed some things about setup, and we kind of knew that going in that my car would probably go tight and his car would probably get loose. But we said we're going to try it and see how it works out, and it turned out to be a great race between us with our cars being strong in different parts of the track. But yeah, it made for a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations once again. I know you have somebody that you want to give a shout out to, so shout away.
I'd just like to thank y'all for doing a broadcast. Y'all do a great job, and all the sponsors that help contribute to this league. It makes it what it is.
Well, congratulations once again, Robert, on the second place finish. We hope to speak with you in, I think, about a week's time whenever we head to the Charlotte Roval.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
And of course, that Charlotte Roval will be in a week's time on the 9th of March. So 60 minutes of racing action around the Charlotte Motor Speedway that will host round 7 for season 16 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. It will all be broadcasted on Apex Racing TV. Thanks to the entire audience for joining us. One of the biggest audiences we've had for one of the best races we've had in the sports car series. Now, those sponsors mentioned earlier, Extreme Motorsports, and of course, Performer Elite Texas Graphics. Check them out at their associated websites and platforms. From myself, Jonathan Simon, Tyler Maxon alongside me in commentary and production, and our entire Apex Racing TV crew. Hope you enjoyed this Apex Racing TV presentation. Visit apexracingtv.com for more information on our iRacing broadcasting services. Our winners today, Kevin Carlisle for TCR, Aeronom for your GS Mustang class, and of course, DJ Alessandrini in a thrilling battle for the ages between himself and Robert Hartley. He was winner for our ST MX5 class. For now, though, we say so long from Road Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, and we'll see you virtually around Charlotte in a week's time.